Hey guys, Aaron Wilson back at NRG Stadium. It's Friday, late afternoon, and the Texans had another practice preparing for an aggressive Seahawks defense. And today, I want to talk a lot about C.J. Stroud and Nick Caley and some things that they worked on during the bye week and some success they've had in the last 5 quarters of offensive football. So you look at where the Texans stand now, the way they've played against, arguably 2 junior varsity opponents in the Tennessee Titans and the Baltimore Ravens. That said, play calling, timing, chemistry, and cutting down mistakes, that's very real. And I can't just, throw that out altogether because I think it's significant. It means something, and in particular when it applies to C.J. Stroud and the way that he's orchestrating the offense and the way that Nick Caley is building out his playbook, adapting, throwing out some things that didn't work, and accentuating some of the things that C.J. Stroud really likes to do. So what I'm seeing now is an offensive coordinator and a third-year quarterback that are in sync. And that can lead to some good things, some possibilities offensively. They have options. It's not just, throw it to Nico Collins or hand it off to Nick Chubb. You've got Woody Marks, Christian Kirk starting to emerge as a target, and Jaden Higgins is coming off of arguably his best all-around game. Jalen Noel got a touchdown. Xavier Hutchins had a couple of touchdowns. So I like the way they're spreading the football around. It's not just about that. It's the misdirection. But during the bye week, Nick Caley, he wasn't completely off. He was working, and it's where a lot of the coaches, and they spent a lot of time on this. They're looking at fundamentals, scheme, the roster, how to use the personnel in the best way possible. So talking to him today, our conversation, we have a weekly talk with the coordinators. So we talked to Nick Caley, we talked to Frank Ross, we talked to Matt Burke. Of course, Frank Ross, always feisty, a lot of fun, energy, juiced up. Guy does not need a lot of coffee or energy drinks. But, we learned a little about Nick Caley, including that he's superstitious. Keeps wearing these sort of sweat stains hats. He's got 2 of them, he said. Hey, you can call plays the way you did the last 5 quarters. Whatever hat you're wearing, keep it. Wear it till there's holes in it. Just keep it around forever. That's a broken-in hat, and maybe this is now a little bit of a metaphor for this offense. Hat fits better, right? When it's not brand new, you bend the brim a little bit. Maybe it gets sweaty. You're outside in the sun. It starts to look a little better. I think a broken-in hat, I'm not a big hat guy. I probably should be, but I don't wear a lot of hats. But I think wearing a hat, that's smart. So, yeah, for Nick Caley, applying the hat analogy a little bit, I'm stretching this metaphor a bit, I know, but I'm a writer, so please indulge me in this. It feels like he's growing into this offense like a well-worn hat. So this is his spin on the New England Patriots stuff and some Sean McVay sprinkled in. Sean McVay sprinkles, I would say. But it's more of an ice cream sundae of old school New England Patriots stuff. But what works about it is being a game plan offense, figuring out what can you do. So definitely execution's better. Cutting down on turnovers, cutting down on penalties. Pass protecting better, also run blocking better, including the receivers. Example, the Nick Chubb touchdown run against the Ravens. Xavier Hutchinson, Christian Kirk, putting a hat in there against push. You see the whole right side, Titus Howard, Blake Fisher, Ed Ingram, the center in the middle, Jake Andrews. Everybody blocks. And guess what? Touchdown. So that's how you draw it up. And that's what they need to continue to work on. So, looking at these discussions, and they do talk to players, they do use a lot of player feedback. They're starting to learn more about what the guys like and playing some clean football. So, it's kind of a 2-pronged thing. The players hold up their end of the bargain by holding on to the ball, by running the plays correctly, and then the offensive coordinator and the other coaches on offense, like Cole Popovich, Ben McDaniels, Danny Barrett, they do their part by giving these guys a little freedom, running plays that the players like. So it kind of works hand in hand. And right now, as the Texans are on a 2-game winning streak, it is working. We'll see. Maybe they're going to run into a buzzsaw in Seattle against this very aggressive front. Maybe they need to do some quick game. Just trying to predict the game plan a little bit. I could see them doing some things like that. I haven't seen the plays. I don't know what they're doing. I'm just putting my input into it, my opinion. My analysis, I think you need quick hitting plays against the Seahawks because they do probably, are going to get some penetration with their front of looking at, the guys, the Leonard Williams, the Byron Murphy Jr.'s. These guys can get in there. DeMarcus Lawrence. So they have some good football players, some tough guys to block. But the Texans' offensive line is starting to have some confidence from these guys. A little swag from the Titus Howards, Ed Ingrams. That right side looking pretty tough. These guys roll their sleeves, and they get some push. That's great. So with C.J. and how this kind of applies all to him, you're seeing him, and this kind of paraphrasing the words of Nick Caley, seeing the game the right way, seeing the field, establishing his rhythm, playing well, not being in long yardage situations, taking what's there. That's the point that D'Amico Ryans made this week about C.J. Stroud. So he called him consistent, steady, and they all need to play that way. But yeah, C.J. has been a leader, and I'm seeing some really positive signs from C.J. and his progression and kind of where this offense can go. So Nico Collins' conversation today in the locker room kind of echoed that sentiment about the way number 7, C.J. Stroud's jersey number, the way he's playing the game, the way that he's orchestrating the offense, being the field general, being the guy under center, the signal caller. And he is, someone that's taken more ownership of the offense. So when I see all these things, I think, okay, not being like, Pollyanna here, or eternal optimist, but I think they got a chance. They got a chance to be a decent offense, and they need to be, because this defense, this top-ranked defense, they can't just carry this team all the way. I've covered games like that. I've covered teams like that. I've seen the old Ravens. As you guys know, I covered them for 15 years. So Ray Lewis and those guys allowed the fewest points ever in the regular season, and they were absolutely lights out. Their quarterback was Trent Dilfer. C.J. Stroud's a lot better than Trent Dilfer. They had a great running back in Jamal Lewis, and they had Shannon Sharp to throw to, and they had Kadri Ishmael. They didn't have a lot of offense, but they would, a lot of short fields. They had a good field goal kicker. They had a good punter, and they won games that way. There's a formula. But I think the Texans can be more than that. The Texans can be a team that can strike deep, intermediate, short, all 3 levels they can throw. So you look at the opponent, and they've given up some deep passes. They don't blitz much. C.J. Stroud is really, really good statistically when he's not blitzed. So the numbers kind of bear that out. In terms of the running game supporting this, they're really kind of game by game in terms of touches and figuring out, is this a Nick Chubb kind of game? Is this a Woody Marks kind of game? I'm not sure. I think that Woody will have a role, but they really feel good about the way Nick Chubb's playing right now. Why wouldn't they? So the DBs they're up against, if Rick Woolen he's okay from his concussion, Devin Witherspoon, just a very, very good corner. He's like an all-pro type of corner. Outstanding. These guys are very long. They have outstanding mobility. So, yeah, there's going to be definitely some talent in that secondary. But I think the Texans can get open. They can create some separation against these guys. They can make some things happen. It's all possibilities for them. Xavier Hutchinson, great route runner. And you're seeing him, what he did, in the offseason, kind of paying some dividends right now. Seeing X, or Hutch, as some most call him, that he has that ability to really change the game in terms of how people see him, what he's capable of. 2 touchdowns in 1 game, that's nothing to sneeze about. That is impressive. And I think he's one of the hardest working guys, one of the most improved guys. So it's cool to see that happen with Hutch. And, you hear about some things about Xavier Hutchinson. You kind of go back a little bit, what he was doing at Iowa State and the kind of football player he was in college. And now you're starting to see that kind of bear fruit a bit here in the NFL. Maybe it took a while, maybe it took a little time, but he's there now. He's gotten to that point where, he's part of the offense I don't know really what I would call the pecking order. Is it Hutchinson number 2? Is it really Christian Kirk? Is it kind of a mix, depending on the week? Jaden Higgins still kind of finding his way. I talked to Jaden today. I feel like Jaden's confidence is growing. A lot of the guys are very excited about Monday Night Football and the opportunity that awaits them in Seattle at Lumen Field. 9 p.m. kickoff, Central Time. So, the guys will be, probably taking some naps, trying to acclimate. The Texans are getting in Sunday, and they're going to get ready for this game. So it's an interesting matchup. It's a 4-2 squad. It's a team that I think is pretty good, despite losing to Jacksonville. Overall, Seattle, pretty good all-around team, well coached by Mike McDonald, and the play calling of Clint Kubiak. This is a tough matchup, but this is the kind of game the Texans have to be able to win to be taken seriously, to be a contender again. They're the 2-time defending AFC South champion. They're looking up in the standings at the 5-1 Colts and the 4-2 Jaguars. So they got to catch them. This is an absolutely pivotal game. Everybody would say, well, they're not being favored. I've seen a lot of people picking the Seahawks. All valid. That said, I think the Texans have a shot. So we'll see. And a lot of this is going to hinge on this offensive line, this improving offensive line. And that was a topic today as well. Talking to Nick Caley about Cole Popovich, his buddy, the offensive line coach, the run game coordinator, former New England Patriots colleague. So they used to work together right across from each other back in New England, working with the Dante Scarnecchias and the Josh McDaniels and the Bill Belichick. So these guys have a lot of respect for each other, and he called Cole an excellent football coach. And, we've seen improvement from the offensive line under the stewardship of Cole Popovich. And it was something that we talked about a lot, right, in the offseason. Can that happen? Can they get better? Well, they get better. Yeah. They're allowing 1 sack less per game than they did a year ago. So the stats are better, kind of being borne out by some of the winning. But, it's got to continue to climb. They got to keep ascending. And if they can do that, if they keep improving, they can be good. But yeah, Popovich, that was interesting just to hear, again, Caley's perspective. Called him a tough coach, the way that he, is very highly intelligent, the way he challenges his guys. And that's only one way he knows how to coach football. That's to coach them tough. And that's what you want to hear. You don't want to hear anybody babying the offensive line. It's got to be, a tough-nosed, hard-nosed group. And that's where he said he would start these things in terms of establishing a benchmark, a foundation of some toughness, kind of a standard. So we're starting to see that. We're starting to see this play out on the field. I can definitely tell you, I think that right side, Ed Ingram and, Titus Howard, that's pretty tough. And they've gotten good enough play from the center, Jake Andrews, and Juice Scruggs now is the new LG1. Looks like he's getting the job done. He's okay. He's solid. And then, rookie left tackle, Aaron Urster, his ceiling higher than the rest of these guys. A lot of talent. Just got to continue to work his fundamentals and stay in front of guys and not hold and not get beat with speed rushes. But, he's someone that's improved a lot over the last couple of weeks, playing some better football. So, looking at all of this and kind of looking at, even like C.J.'s perspective of what's working on offense, kind of how they're getting it done. A lot of people look at the Texans offense a lot of ways, but, he said they're still finding their identity and being a versatile offense, getting a lot of guys involved, keeping that going. He said some self-scouting, and they threw out some things, and, I think that made sense to get rid of some stuff. But, CJ feels like every week he's getting better, and the offense, his understanding of the offense, everybody's understanding the adjustments, and just kind of utilizing the different player skill sets and the talent that they have and how everybody plays. So as far as like everything, CJ didn't, say everything in terms of, so he kept keeping some things to himself, but he was also, in terms of a big picture, willing to say that, hey, there's some things we should not do anymore. We should just get rid of those. Definitely the should nots, penalties on first down, turnovers, him not getting the football out fast enough, some of the things that plagued them during the 3-game losing streak. So all of it going to a point now where people are visualizing touchdown celebrations and practicing. And so there's execution, there's energy, it's getting better. And I think there's some extra juice right now with this team. I don't know if they wanted that week off, but they got it. And now they're trying to put it to good use and apply it as they play the Seattle Seahawks, Mike McDonald, DeMarcus Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy Jr., Devin Witherspoon. It's a good bunch. But, Texans, it doesn't look like a team that they can't beat. I think it'll say a lot. It could be a statement kind of game if the Texans can beat the Seattle Seahawks in their house. They're actually better on the road than they are at home. So that'll be an interesting dynamic too. Well, guys, please watch, like, and subscribe. I am excited about some of the views and engagement we're having. I think that all the videos, people should check them out. Please give it a spin. I'm also on Twitter and X, Aaron_Wilson_NFL, Instagram, AaronWilson7128, television, of course, at KPRC2, and www.click2houston.com for all of our digital content. So please give us a listen or a click, and I appreciate everybody, your comments that you make. Great stuff from many, many people that contribute and leave their messages. So I read all of those, enjoy it, and I look forward to talking to you soon. There will be practice Saturday morning. I'll be here. They're going to I would wonder if they'll be inside or if they'll go outside. We'll see what they do. They haven't told us yet if they're going to go outside or not. But I'll be here. My wife's going to bake tonight. I think we're going to have some brownies for the reporters and PR staff. And D'Amico Ryans, just kidding. D'Amico, he doesn't eat sweets, at least not these. Hasn't had anything. My wife, just give you some background, she'll bake every week, once a week. I bring in some baked goods for fellow reporters that are on this beat, all the different names. You guys know them all very well. And just a little spirit of sharing to me to bring something in. So I'm happy to do that, and I appreciate my wife. Thanks, Shannon, for baking every week. So I've been doing that ever since the Bill O'Brien era. It's just kind of something I started back then. During the latter years of the O'Brien era. So that's continued with David Culley and Lovie Smith and in the D'Amico Ryans era now. So it's just something we'll keep it going. Like I said, I'm here every day. I don't miss practice. I don't miss press conferences. I'm always here. So guys, great to talk to you. And thanks again. The channel is at about 18,200. Looking to get this thing to 19,000 and then 20,000 after that. So let's do it. We can do it together. It can get to 20,000. It'd be great to be at that point by, say, Halloween or sooner. So let's work on it together, guys. Thanks so much. Appreciate you guys. Talk soon. Thanks. Bye. We were just talking to Frank Ross about the late start. He says, whatever you got to do, drink some coffee, be ready. What do you think about the timing of the game? West Coast, and you guys are used to this Central time zone.
It is a weird little time zone, but you got to do what you got to do to be ready for kickoff. It's different, traveling to the West Coast. My first time in Seattle, so kind of excited. But it's just something you got to adapt to. Late start, late game, so pretty sure we probably don't have early meetings or something. Got time to get off your feet, take a little nap, you know what I'm saying? Then wake up, it's go time. You know what I'm saying? No matter what time it is, line of this, gotta get to it.
Usually when we talk about bye weeks, it's about injuries. Like trying to recover and get right for the stretch run. But it was an early bye week. And
it was.
There were offensive struggles to start the season. How beneficial was the early bye week for you guys?
It was very beneficial. It was cool. The bye fall around whenever. You can't really control that. But we did start off. Kind of not ideal as an offense in the beginning, but I feel like that's the point of the season. It's the point to come out here and practice every day to get better on the things we need to get better on. Find out 1%. And continue to get better every day, man. It's a marathon. It's a long season. We got another opportunity, great opportunity to go on the road again. Get Seattle is a great defense, great team over there, man, great franchise. So it's another battle testing, another time to get tested, and I know we're ready. Never a doubt about that. So great opportunity for us to go out, pick up where we left off.
Nico, the way that CJ's playing right now, what are you seeing from him and how he's running this offense and the sync between him and Nick Caley?
Yeah. He's doing good. Seven doing what Seven does. Calm, collected in the pocket. Making the right reads. And not forcing anything. That's what you want as a quarterback. making the right reads, take care of the ball, you know, controlling the offense, and that's what he's doing.
Nico, when you have a team that plays the way they play defense by rushing for, but dropping so many people back into coverage as a wide receiver, how are you able to navigate through so many bodies to get to the spot that you need to be in?
Yeah, that's the point of the game, man. You know, they're gonna throw different coverages at you, try to keep you on your toes and things like that. But as a wide out, you got to run the correct route. It's gonna be routes where you adjust to the coverages and things like that. But it's a game within the game. That's when you go to the sideline, tell the coach what they're doing. That's opponent got to be a pro. So got to adapt as the game goes on.
How good was it to see Xavier Hutchinson be using the offense in the last game?
Yeah, man, it's good to see my dog Hutch get touches, and being him, because we know what type of guy Hutch is. He come to work every single day, not complaining. He's out there just working, on the practice field every day, and we see it. So I'm glad my dog finally got his opportunity to come out there with 2 touchdowns, man. So got to continue to capitalize on that, continue to get his confidence, his swagger. See him spin, we all spinning, So it's a great feeling. You see your brothers out there, doing what they get to do.
D'Amico said that Mac called plays in parts so that D'Amico